Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and happy Friday. This is Jim and Anna, and we're happy to be here with our little show, Live with Jim and Anna. Hi, Jim.
Hello, Anna. Where are you today?
Oh, I'm working in the secret location.
Oh, okay.
Can't disclose. How about you?
Oh, you can't disclose. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm in the home office. You can see Winston Churchill overlooking me on my shoulder there. And
And then he says, never, never, never give up.
that's right.
That's
You got it.
that's my favorite quote, Jim.
Well, that's important. It's important for everybody to remember that quote. Anyway, we're going to be answering questions this morning, Anna. So I have a question for you. Are you ready?
I'll go ahead.
Okay. Why should I rebalance my portfolio?
Well, Jim, it is not a good question. It's rather a simple question that we get quite a bit from our clients. And my answer is this: to keep track with your financial goals. And so, what does that mean in terms of, why do you actually have to rebalance your portfolio? Once you set up everything and you have your stocks in appropriate place, you have your bonds, there are things that are happening out there in the market that make these allocations of these proportions of your stocks to bonds in your portfolio move out of whack. And so if you think about portfolio serving sort of as a backup to achieving your financial goals, and when you set up a certain percentage to go in stocks and bonds, and then there's something going on in the market, whether it's going up or down, both stocks and bonds, then those percentages get out of whack. So in order to keep consistent with your goals, we gotta come back and revisit and take a look and say, well, if we, for example, started with 60% in stocks and 40% in bonds, and now when we reviewing your accounts and there happen to be at 65% in stocks and 35% in bonds, so then that means we have to sell a little bit in stocks and move it a little bit to bonds so that we again are coming back to our original recipe for the portfolio so that we can stay the course in achieving the financial goals. How about that?
Well, that's an interesting one because since you're my financial advisor, my investment advisor, that's exactly what you had me do. My stocks went up faster than the bonds, and you said, because I'm an older person nearing retirement, I ought to dial it back a little bit. And so we rebalanced. Thank you very much.
Oh, Jim, yes. I'm not going to tell anybody how much we had to dial, but we had to dial quite
Okay.
a bit.
Well, how about a question for me then? Okay.
Okay. So let's see. Here's a question for you, Jim. Should I do a backdoor IRA? And what is a backdoor IRA?
Well, a backdoor IRA is a non-deductible IRA that you convert to a Roth IRA. So let's talk about IRAs. If you're of modest means and you don't have a pension plan that you are eligible for at work and you have earned income, then you can usually do an IRA and it's deductible. However, individuals or couples can make more than a modest amount of money and they become ineligible for one of two reasons. Number one, they're already eligible for a pension plan at work, like a 401k or 403b or tax sheltered annuity or thrift savings plan, any of those kinds of things. So that makes them ineligible for a deductible IRA, but they might be able to do a non-deductible IRA. So for higher income people or for people who already have a pension plan at work, then you can do a non-deductible IRA. And if you are wise, you may choose to convert it to a Roth IRA. The results are you don't pay taxes on a Roth IRA as long as you hold it for at least 5 years from the opening of the account and you're 59 and a half or older. Well, there are some very specific things you need to do or know about. First of all, if you're going to participate in a backdoor IRA, Roth IRA conversion, you need to get rid of all your other IRAs first. Why is that? Well, if you have a rollover IRA, for example, and many of our clients do, you might be able to, if you're still working, put it into your current 401k plan if the options are cost effective. Many of them are. Some of them aren't, though. And because when you go to convert your $5,500, or if you're over $6,500, you have to take into account all of the IRAs that you hold. And because those are non-taxed already, it enters into the equation when converting it. So most of your $5,500 or $6,500 could actually be taxed. So if you get rid of them and you don't have any IRAs, then your new non-deductible one, you would convert it and pay little or no tax to convert it. How do you do that? There's a form, an 8606 form. On the front side, that's where you document your non-deductible IRA, and on the back side, that's where you do your conversion documentation. And it's very important to fill this out correctly. Many taxpayers may not be up to date or knowledgeable about the 8606. So this is a buyer beware kind of thing. And if any of our clients have a problem with that, we have a sample 8606 that we can show them so it gets accounted for properly. Doing it improperly may mean you get taxed twice. So you're trying to avoid taxes with this strategy. And how long you wait before your non-deductible IRA becomes a Roth IRA is an interesting question. I'm very conservative, and I frequently recommend people make their contribution 1 year and convert it in the next year. Some people do it rather quickly, and they don't care about violating what's called by the IRS a step transaction, something that you do to avoid the rules. Okay. I think that's enough about backdoor IRAs becoming Roth IRAs, but it is a good opportunity for people who are sort of maxed out in other areas.
That's what I wanted to hear you say. Is just the question is, why should I do it? Because a lot of people do fall in sort of that middle ground where they can do it, and they're always asking, well, should I do it? What's the advantage of doing something like that?
Maxed out in other areas.
Right, and then you also might want to consider having tax-free distributions, because that's what happens in a Roth IRA in retirement. If you draw out of your Roth IRA, you don't have to pay taxes on the gains. And so if you have other types of accounts, such as deferred retirement plans and IRAs, so then it's sort of a mix of things that I think we'd like to see our clients have.
It's a good vehicle, and doing it sooner rather than later is important, because there have been some proposals in the Congress to do away with Roth IRAs.
Oh, that's right.
I believe people will be grandfathered in, but they might turn off the spigot at some point in the future.
Right, and the earlier you do it, or the younger you are, the more attractive this option is, because there's a lot more time for the accumulation of tax-free growth. So.
Exactly. Thank you. Following that up.
Just a second. I just want to make sure that for those of you who are watching, we have a couple of viewers. We have our questions line open. So on your screen, at I think left-hand side bottom, there's a button you can click and send us a question. So we're open for some new and challenging questions we haven't been prepared to answer.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I like these scripted questions much better. Come on. So
okay.
Here's one that I rewrote. Why do you focus so much on goals? Why?
Why goals? Well, you know, Jim, how we have clients who come into us and they say, well, I just need advice on how to rebalance my portfolio, to sort of, tying into my earlier questions, why do I need to rebalance my portfolio? And then that is all that they really are focused on. Help me keep my portfolio rebalanced. And so our job as financial planners is to actually know, in the case of rebalancing portfolios, what are we rebalancing for, and what does this portfolio even exist to support? Because goals, and particularly financial goals, are there because you have something you want to achieve. And so our focus on the goals is so much is because unless these goals are defined and they're put in place and they're written down, they're really not goals. They're more like wishes. Oh, I wish I could retire at 55. No, I am going to retire at 55, and I need a budget of $60,000 a year to do that. So see how that's a little bit different than just wishing that I could do something. And once we have those, more definable goals, then we can plan better and we can give a better advice as far as how, for example, the portfolio should be invested to support those goals. So that's the focus of what we do, okay? Because we all are here and we have things that we want to achieve in our life. But unless they're concrete and definable, there really are not goals. And on the other hand is, unless you define and you write these things down, how can you know that you are on track? Right? If there's nothing sort of running, there's no kind of plan going on, how do you know that you're going to get there? In my example earlier with retiring in 55, wishing you could retire. But unless you've set it up and you can track your performance of your portfolio and what steps you have taken to get there year to year, then that's a whole different game.
I mean, you just can't have a goal of, say, having $2 million. Like, can't you just have a goal like that?
You can, but do you really need $2 million? Do you remember our discussion last time? In order to achieve your goals, do you need to have $2 million? Many Americans do not have $2 million, and they can still retire.
I don't have $2 million. I just have this goal of $2 million. I think when I get to $2 million, I can quit.
You can have a goal of $2 million, but it needs to be more concrete. It needs to be more definable. By when do you want to have $2 million? 10 years from now? 2 years from now? What are you going to do to get there? And if you're relying on your investments to help you to get there, then how should we structure your portfolio? So it is somewhat a circle, Jim. You can't just have one and not do the other.
Okay. So I shouldn't ask you for a raise so I can meet my goal.
This is off the air conversation.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. It's important to have goals. Thank you.
That's right. Well, no, Jim.
Don't you have another question for me? Look in the question box. Does anybody send a question?
The question that came in that says, well, how much raise do you, Jim, want? Did I just talk about specific goals? Okay, let's be serious, please. Okay. People are watching.
Yes.
Okay, so I got a question for you. Okay.
Thank you.
Can I have a mortgage in retirement and buy a more expensive home?
That's a very good question, Anna. I got asked that this morning. You know what the answer was? The answer was a qualified yes, because it was very important to this client to have a very nice home, not a big home, but a strategically located home to give him the view and the neighbors and the walks that he wanted. And he was willing to sacrifice expensive vacations to have a more expensive house and a mortgage. And one of the questions that I answered was, should I have a 15-year mortgage because he's getting ready to retire in his late 50s? Should I have a 15-year mortgage because I save on interest, or a 30-year mortgage? And what do you think I said?
Oh, I think you said 30-year mortgage.
I said a 30-year mortgage.
Because you can always pay it off is a 15-year mortgage.
And the ultimate question should be, how much interest did I pay the bank versus how much interest could I have paid the bank? And by making more frequent principal payments, you can actually end up paying the bank less, even though your stated interest rate was higher because you paid off the loan more quickly, but you had a fallback position if there were a few months where cash flow was tight for any number of reasons. You had wiggle room. If you're on a 15-year fix, you have less options, and that's what I want our clients to avoid. So that was my answer.
Good. We actually just had one question came in. Let's take that, and then we have to close our discussion. In retirement, is it better to spend down traditional IRA first, a Roth, or non-IRA? So I suppose that's a taxable account. I also have a pension that takes care of about 1/2 of our day-to-day expenses. So the question, to rephrase it, so the question is which accounts to draw first?
What's the withdrawal strategy?
Correct. So we have taxable, we have IRA, and we have Roth. And we need about 1/2 to cover our expenses.
Are you asking me that question?
Let's have a discussion.
Okay. Well, the quick and dirty answer is taxable first, down to your emergency fund, then IRAs and Roths last because they continue to compound with no tax consequence.
How about taxable, Roth, and then IRAs? Mix it up a little bit. Even though Roth is compounding tax-free, why not use some of those funds? Why do you want to pay taxes first if you draw from a deductible IRA?
Well, because I want the issue of compounding to continue to grow it into a really large sum. And on years when my tax rate might be too high because I have other income that may have come in or a capital gain, then I would probably use the Roth IRA, but it would be exceptional use and not use before the regular IRA. Not only that, but there's no required minimum distributions on Roth IRAs. There are in IRAs, so you're going to end up having to take it out from 70.5 on anyway.
Right. I think this question, what we just talked about, is more of a general kind of answer, but I think once the client has a more specific situation, then we can certainly give a more precise advice about, take money from this account for some time. Maybe you do draw from your IRA because you are forced to do it. It's so I think it is a dirty, as you said, quick and dirty answer, but it certainly can be more customizable.
And it depends upon whether the market's up or down.
That is true.
The Warren Buffett answer is, if the market's up, take it from stocks. If the market's down, take it from the T-bills.
And you can have those kinds of things in various accounts.
That's correct. You can. The tax consequences coming out of an IRA, though, ordinary income, coming out of Roth, 0.
Taxable account, capital gains, capital losses, or capital gains, which are taxed at a different rate. Well, I think that should give our viewer a little bit of something to think about. Well, Jim, we are right on time. We're just a little over for our discussion today. So let's just close. I wish everybody a great Friday and relaxing weekend. I hear that the weather has been warming up on the East Coast, so enjoy that. And oh yeah, Mother's Day, right? Mother's Day this weekend. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. We love you.
And our program next month, where are we going to be broadcasting from?
We're going to be, well, I know you want to tell everybody we're going to be in Italy, but I think we're going to be back to United States by then. So unless we do a special episode broadcasting from Italy. So we'll work on it.
We could, but I'm not sure I want to do that.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll just have to report back to you how our trip went. Okay. How about that? Sounds good? Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. And send us your questions. We have First Friday questions, and for our ongoing clients, any Friday. We love answering questions, especially Anna.
Yes, put on a spot. Okay, good enough. Take care.
Bye, everybody.